Hi everyone, today we're going to learn about histograms. This is a graph that we're going to be making using our data set. So up until this point we've been finding like the mean or the average or what happened the most. This is going to give us an overall look at all the data instead of just simplifying it down into one thing. So what a histogram does is it shows the frequency that data occurs. I actually use this a lot when I'm looking at your test grades. I want to see how many people got in the 90s or the 80s or the 70s, and hopefully we're not lower than that.
In the 10s.
Never in my class. Or if when you're grown up and get a job, if you're in a business and they do sales and marketing, like if you work on a TV show, they want to know what are the ages of the people watching this show, so they know how to, where to put commercials. Believe it or not, Rob does this a lot in football. He makes his own charts where he sees, okay, it's first down. What does our opponent usually do? Most often, oh, it's second down and short. What do they normally do? Do they throw it? Do they run it? So this is actually used in a wide variety of things. So this is something you might actually use in your real life. So yay! So histograms shows the frequency. So I already put on the board some grades on the last math test. Gee, guys, do you even remember what our last math test was? I know we were supposed to take one the first day we got put on quarantine, but we have our classmates today, Knuckles and Charizard, and oh, Andrew, what's this one? Creeper?
Yeah.
Creeper and Wiggler and Froakie and Purple Yosh.
Mew.
Mewtwo, just Mew?
Yes.
Waluigi and Mudkip. So here we go. I don't think Knuckles would actually get a 92. He's not exactly the smartest of the Sonic characters.
Let me see out of all, what's the lowest out of all those? 55.
So anyhow, I just made up a random group of test scores for my imaginary class of characters. So in this data set, we have all of these scores: 92, 76, 85, 85, 68, 81, 84, 89, 64, 97, 55, 77, 90, 72, 67, 88,
70, 59, 80, 83, and 96.
All right. Now, to make a histogram, there are two parts. The first part, I call it an if chart. And the second part that we actually make is a connected bar graph. So the bars have to touch. So this if chart, I call it an if chart because we actually are going to make a table. The left side starts with an I. The right side starts with an F. Go figure. The I stands for interval, and the F stands for frequency. And we're actually going to make tally marks to see the frequency. So the first thing I always look at is what is my highest and lowest set of data. That way I know how to make my interval. My lowest in this data set was Knuckles' great grade here of a 55. Knuckles, we need some tutoring. All right, and our highest, I believe, is our 96. So I'm not going to start my interval at 1. My lowest number is a 55. So I'm going to do what I kind of said that I normally do when I look at tests. I'm going to look at the 50s. Since 55 is my lowest, I'm going to do 51 to 60. Then I'm going to add 10 to both of these numbers because your interval has to stay constant. I can't have this one have go by 3 and this one go by 10. That's not fair. It would skew what the data looks like. So your interval must be constant. So I add 10 to both. 61 to 70. Hey, and in college, these are the actual grades. 71 to 80, 81 to 90, and 91 to 100. Your goal is to have somewhere between 5 to 8 bars. You don't want a crazy looking bar graph. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. Anything less, these are too big, and you got to shrink them up a little bit because you really want to show the data. Now the next part is the easy part. You just look at each number and you put a tally for whatever interval it's in between. Andrew, I'm going to need your help here. Can you read me the numbers?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, thank you.
Okay. 92.
So that goes down here.
76. 85. 85. 68. 81. 84. 89.
Okay.
64. 9.
Go ahead.
97. 55. 77. 90. 72. 67. 88. 70. 59. 80. 83. 96.
Now, normally I'd cross all those out as I go, but since I have a helper here, I didn't have to go because he helped me out.
Go me.
Yes, go Andrew. So, and then this is what we graph in our histogram. We count our tallies. We have 2, 4, 4, 8, and 3. Now, so I go ahead. Andrew, I think you're going to need to move your camera here.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to make our graph. And just like what we did before, the left is our x-axis, the right is our y-axis. So I literally take what's on the left side, my x, and I rewrite it on the bottom. So I write my 51 to 60, 61 to 70, 71 to 80, 81 to 90, 91 to 100. And I'm going to label it. I'm not going to label it intervals though. I'm going to label it test scores because that's actually what it is. So then my y-axis is the frequency. I'm going to show how many tally marks it got. So my smallest number's 2, my biggest number's 8. So I'm just going to go by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, I'm going to label. And this time, when you label your Y with a histogram, it's always going to be number of. So this is number of students who got the grades. So 51 to 60, there were 2. So I make my bar. Now this is a connected bar graph. So my next bar is attached to the first one. Now from there, I'm going up to 4. This is kind of hard doing this on the floor, I'm going to be honest. Then I got another 4, so it just stays connected. Then I go all the way up to 8. And then my last one was a 3. And the only thing I have left, since it's a graph, is I got to give it a title. Remember, good title has how many words? We talked about that. So this would be grades earned on the last math test.
Woohoo.
And that's all there is to it. We got our if chart and we have our graph. And then I could easily look, only 2 people were in the 50s.
They were still in the 50s.
And then, okay, then we got 4 in the 60s, 4 in the 70s. At least we got 8 in the 80s and 3 in the 90s. So I would rather have it more in the 80s and the 90s, but it's a fake class. So
in the 2000s, okay. 2010s and 2020.
Well, Andrew, since the highest grade is 100%, we're going to keep it in 100. Okay. I want to do one more with you because practice makes perfect. So I need my eraser. And this time we're not going to do grades. If we were at school, I would make... Oh! Knuckles had a fall.
Okay, I'll pick them up. And Mudkip did too, so I am now...
Oh, geez, I'm losing my class.
I am now getting in
the area. I'm going to have to fill out some accident reports when this is over.
Okay, get back up there.
Oh, wow. I really miss you guys and having real people to teach to. Okay, I'm sorry. Mudkip, behave yourself. Okay. Andrew, let's just go for it.
Wait there. Oh, no.
It's fine. It's fine. Some students are sent to the office. Okay, so if we would be at school, normally when we do histograms, I take data from you and we make a chart. We make our own histogram. And usually what I ask is one of 2 things. Usually, how long does it take you to get to school in the morning? On the bus or in your car. And another one, I don't think we have walkers.
Oh.
But, and the other one is how long does it take you to get ready for school in the morning? I've had a lot of crazy answers. I always say, though, you have to at least say 5 minutes. Because no matter what, you should be washing your face, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, putting on deodorant, getting dressed. That should take at least 5 minutes if you're doing all of those things well. Today in quarantine, you could probably say 10 seconds. I rolled over. But it's a good thing my class is at noon for Zoom. Okay, but I kept one of the answers from last year. So I'm going to go ahead and put these times up. So this is, we did it in minutes. I know some people like a little time, some people like a lot. Andrew would rather wake up earlier but get to watch YouTube before school. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I eat in my car so I can sleep an extra 5
I don't need
minutes.
sleep, I need answers.
Oh. Isn't my son profound? All right, moving on. So somebody told me 13, 45, 24, 20, 60, I had another 60, 15, 20, 50, 55, 6. Yeah, 6 minutes. 30, 20, 25, 35, 8, 35, and 40. So that was one of my classes from last year. It's my smallest class. And quite honestly, I think it had some of the larger times from last year. So what we're going to do is we're going to make the graph. But first, before we make our graph, we have to make our chart, our if chart. Anybody remember what the I stands for? That's right, interval. And the F stands for frequency. So again, that's where we make our tally marks. Now, the smallest number that we had was 6, and the largest was 60. So again, I think our interval should go by tens because that'll give us 6 bars. And this time, because 6 is our lowest, we are going to start with 1. We're never going to start at 0 because that would be no data, so at least on this one. So we're going to do 1 to 10. And again, we add 10 to each number the whole way down. 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, and 51 to 60. All right, Andrew, I need your help again, bud. Can you read me the data so I can put in my tally marks?
Yeah, let me just balance this.
That looks good.
Okay. 14, 45, 24, 20, 60, 60, 15, 20, 50, 55, 6, 40, 20, 25, 45, 8, 45, 40.
Okay, so we got 2, 5, 3, 3, 2, 3. All right, so again, now we make our graph. What kind of graph is it? A connected bar graph. So I make my bar graph, and I take my left, my X, and I put it onto my X-axis, and then the Y goes on my Y. A lot of times when I'm writing the interval, I write it sideways. So this is 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, 51 to 60, and those I'm going to label, those are minutes. They're the minutes it takes everyone to get ready. And my highest number is 5 on my y-axis, so I'm just going to make my y-axis go from 1 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I was going up to 10 or 12 with one of my bars, I might count by 2s here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. But we didn't have that much data, so we didn't have to. And again, I'm going to label this number of students, because again, I questioned my students on how long it took them to get ready. Now all I got to do is make the bars. 1 to 10, I had 2. 11 to 20, I had 5. Remember, keep the bars connected. The next two, 21 to 30 and 31 to 40, both had 3. So I'm going to make a big bar and cut it in half. 41 to 50 had 2. And 51 to 60 had 3. Now, let's say that one of these didn't get any tally marks. You would just skip a space and leave that blank in your chart. If there was no 41 to 50, I would just have a, go back that way, huh?
Oh.
I would have a blank spot to show nobody does that. But that wasn't the case for us. That was a 2, so I'm going to put my line back. Now, again, with the graph, there's just one more thing I need, and that is a title. And, oh, that was my first period class last year, so minutes, first period takes getting ready for school. Whew. All in all, I like histograms. I think they're kind of fun. Of course, you guys are used to hearing me say that math is fun. It is, and it's not that difficult. It's just making an interval making some tally marks, and making a connected bar graph. So it shouldn't be that bad. So tomorrow when we have our Zoom class, bring some paper and a pencil, and we're going to make some of these together. I'm going to have you hold them up and show them to me on your camera. So be ready to have the camera action ready to go. And remember, after you're done watching this, to go on Google Classroom and let me know. Say, I saw it, Mrs. Scarisich, so I can give you some easy points for math class just for watching us today. So thank you. And if you have any questions, you know you can email me. Okay? Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.